Hi, how are you? This is Sloan and the Smeltz. Welcome. We got Joel Clelland on, and Joel has already been on the show once, and he's going to be on the show again, clearly, and he's going to be on the show probably another time, but depending on how well he does this time. So, Joel.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll have you back because so much is moving with Centric. To get started, let's talk about, well, if you want to introduce anything that's new with you that you'd like to talk about first.
New with me?
Yeah, new with you, the company.
Yeah, I care about Joel. People care about Joel.
New with me. That's a great question. You see what I did there?
Yeah, the collection.
Anyway, I've been networking with some really amazing people across multiple sectors recently. And I like these individuals because they really are interested in not just personal development, but developing their networks. Like that's always been really important to me is the people situation, just making sure that I'm making.
I'm sorry, what did you call it? The people
making people. Yeah, I guess that's true because my wife and I have 5 kids, so we do make people, but just making those connections with people in the community and help everybody get better and level up. So I've had some really good connections recently.
So
both personally and professionally.
Talk about some of those those new industries, those new areas that you've those new sectors that you're focusing on.
As a CEO, because I was a business owner for a lot of years and did a lot of B2B, B2C, business to customer, business to business, local type of work. And as a CEO for a global company, networking, it just looks different now. And I'm networking with other CEOs and people across various industries and people that aren't even in the United States where I'm based. So it's just a new game, I guess. A new game of networking and making connections in the community.
So what's the end goal there? Like, what actions are you doing? Obviously you're networking right now. Is there any other actions that you're taking, or how Centric plays a part in your big goal?
Like, why are you doing it?
Right. It definitely does. I mean, my whole focus, like 25% of my job description at Centric is networking. And even though I knew what that was before coming to Centric, it just looks different now. And the things that I'm looking for connections with other CEOs of companies, CEOs of nonprofit organizations, people that are movers and shakers at various levels of commerce, both public and private, and just finding out ways that we can integrate with them. Yeah, just finding out ways that Centric can integrate with the larger construct, if you will, in the marketplace, not just as a transactional currency, but also as something that people see value in long-term as an investment.
Absolutely. This is actually something you and I were speaking about on the phone, about how I think that the gap with Centric is people not understanding what it could really do for them. So if you could talk just directly to people who are on the fence about Centric, what would you say to them that affects their lives to kind of push them over to our side here?
Yeah, why Centric?
Well, I would probably say that there are 2 types of people that fall into that camp. There are ladies and gentlemen that maybe aren't even sure if they're going to invest in cryptocurrency. I was in conversation with a group of people online about this yesterday, and some of the people were thinking, well, if you don't understand it, don't even invest in it, or why do you even care, kind of a thing. And then my whole take on it was, this is the future of money. It's good to understand it. You're going to be involved with it by default at some point because that's what we're going to be transacting in. So there's that side where people just aren't sure what crypto or Centric has, what place it has in their lives. And then the other people that are very curious, like a gentleman I actually had a meeting with it was a couple of days ago, and it was kind of in this context. And we were on Zoom for a good 30-40 minutes. And I just kind of went through the protocol because he was very curious about what makes Centric unique. He said, I'm going to invest. So that was his decision. I'm going to get involved with this, and I'd like to, put in money on a monthly basis. And I said, hey, dollar cost averaging, that makes sense. Putting in a little bit of money every month as you go.
Sure.
And for him, he's looking at it as a long-term investment. There are other people who are looking at it as something that they can trade now and make a profit on now. You can trade CNS. We have a 2-token system, and one of the tokens is on the exchanges. So for people that are into trading, you can trade CNS. CNR is our in-network token, and it's not really for that. It's for transactions long-term, but it's really a good long-term predictable investment because it actually goes up in value every hour. And so he understood that right away. He thought that's what's unique about Centric, is that part of the protocol goes up in value every hour. Obviously, we've got the traded token, so the traded token has some volatility at this time. But for people who are interested in a good, solid investment that has long-term predictable outcome, Centric might be just the thing you're looking for. And that's actually the other side of it, is that the bigger piece of it is that there's so much volatility in cryptocurrency, and that's one of the things we're trying to solve. And it's interesting because there's 2 types of people that have feelings on volatility. Some investors love volatility because of the potential upswing of their investments. Sure. But customers and businesses in the marketplace, they don't want to be transacting in something that's volatile. So they want a currency or a medium of exchange that is stable. So I don't know if that fully answers your question, but that's kind of what I've been interacting with lately, is that there are different types of people who have different types of ideas about Centric and crypto. And then there are people like CZ from Binance who tweeted just last week, about 2% of the planet is even in cryptocurrency. And so what he was bringing to the table with that is there's 98% of the world we still need to tell about this stuff. So we have our work cut out for us, not just on the educational front, like you and Shelby, you and I have been doing with the Centric Education series, but just across the board with integration and things like that. And we can talk about integration because I've got some cool things to share on that front.
Oh, fantastic. Let's talk about it integrating.
Yeah, go for it.
But Mark, I think you either had a question or something to add.
Well, it's funny that the thing that came to my mind was, I'm a big proponent of having something backing your material, whatever it is, whether it's Centric or whether it's the US dollar. And when you talked about volatility, like business owners, this is funny to me. Business owners that don't want that volatility, that, I'm going to use US dollars, don't realize that their US dollars are just paper and it can just evaporate instantly if the government says so. The government's printing money right now like it's going out of style, and or has been, and the Fed is privately owned. They can screw you whenever they want. So I don't understand why people. I want some help on this, Joel. I don't understand why people want to use non-asset-backed currencies. So, for example, crypto it's not backed by any material thing. It's not backed by.
I guess it depends. It depends on the crypto.
Sure. Okay. So, for example, how is it that we can make sure that when we're pitching Centric with a new future of money, not only for the next generation, but for this current generation, which is obviously, shouldn't you care about this generation more than the one that's not even born yet? How is it that you can say, hey, look, you give us money and we will return it back, and here's how we back it, and here's how we're going to make sure that you feel comfortable investing with us? Because a lot of the big CEOs, a lot of the big players, they want assurances. I want assurances because I have my own company. I want to know that I'm not buying something that's not going to have any return, or is there's nothing to give me if I invest in it. So, high risk, high reward, sure, but fool's gold. I am curious about how is it that we can make sure that Centric is not fool's gold?
Well, I think just to add to your question,
Or
it's
US
really-
dollars for that month.
Well,
That
Yeah, I mean, and not being backed on anything is when I've asked people, well, why do you still have faith in the US dollar if it's not backed on gold anymore? It's all based on the trust in the government, which at this point it's like, huh. And
I'm not sure if that's the
so-
right, but okay.
so, well, no, I'm just,
That's
no,
funny.
I'm just saying, like, to Mark's question, do you think, like, I guess a question on top of that is, do you think like the trust we can have in Centric will end up outweighing that?
The trust in the US government.
Because all that any of it is backed on anyway is trust right now.
There are a couple of things I would share on this. One is it's a long, long road. I had somebody on Twitter ask me, hey, when's protocol consensus? 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? And my initial reaction was, does it matter? I mean, if that's in our roadmap, if things are going to stabilize at some point organically, why should we force them? Why should we force the protocol? So there's that piece of it. If it's got a predictable outcome, we trust the protocol. Okay, so there's that. But the other piece is probably what people value. If people are given peace of mind based on X, and let's use the US dollar because it's internationally recognized as a store of value, whether we believe it or not. It's what people transact in, it's what they're taking. And because people are transacting in the US dollar, it has an inherent value. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so what we're doing at Centric is we're trying to create something that is similar to the dollar, but has better potential long-term purchasing power because of the hourly growth. Whereas the value of the US dollar in purchasing power, whether it's goods or services, goes down moment by moment that we hold it in our pocket or store it in our bank accounts. What we're developing with Centric when we hit protocol consensus is a type of money that will actually go up in purchasing power. It has an inflationary price. Does that make sense? So where inflation can be bad if it eats into your bottom line,
Right.
If your price is inflationary, that's a different conversation. So I always like to get to the value piece. You know, like the US dollar, we were backed by gold at one time. Now we're based by the full faith and credit of the US government, right? So that's what people trust. That's what they're putting their faith in. Why do they value the dollar? Because we're transacting in it and it's relatively stable. And the stability is put in place by the central banks, by the government. The government can come in and stabilize the currency. Right now, there's no stability in the crypto space. And earlier, Mark, you brought up, hey, is this fool's gold? Is it backed by nothing? Some cryptocurrencies are backed by precious metals or the dollar or other cryptocurrencies.
Right.
Some are what we call non-collateralized. And when I use the term non-collateralized, people get worried. They're like, oh, that means it's backed by nothing. I said, well, no, it just means it's backed by the network or it's backed by the protocol. And the Centric protocol becomes more and more valuable as people move more liquidity into the network. So if we were to go to like CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko or some resource online and look at like the top 50 to 100 projects, crypto projects, we would see market caps that are fairly high and some are in the billions. And when you think about that, you're like, okay, well, does that means that if I hold that token or I hold that coin and I were to convert it back to the US dollar, I would actually have dollars. So there's a value placed on those networks or value placed on those projects. And the market cap is something good to look at because even though Centric is still small cap right now, we're not a large cap crypto, we do have liquidity in the network. And so it's backed by the
You guys want more of
CNS
that.
in the network. Yeah, of course, we're always expanding.
So
People value the network by bringing in liquidity.
So they value it by bringing in more value, and it becomes more value squared.
There you go. Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it. It's a good way to put it.
What would the failure of Centric mean to
Right.
you? If
Sure,
why is it so important for Centric to be successful?
No, I can't even imagine a scenario where Centric is not successful. And I'll tell you why, because we've been building in attack vectors since the beginning of the protocol. Because we have less trust for humans and more trust for mathematics. And so what we've done is since in our current form, the dual token format, we launched that in early 2020. We haven't changed the protocol since then, and we have no intention of ever doing that. And it's a self-regulating protocol. So right away, it's not the humans regulating it. It's the protocol regulating itself. Right. The users are in charge. So anyone who holds tokens, you hold tokens, I hold tokens, several thousand people hold tokens. We can exchange those tokens between each other on demand. And Centric can't do anything about it. You know, we have the systems in place so people can do that, and they can do it in a variety of places. You can do it inside the Centric web wallet. You can do it at Centric Swap, which is outside the Centric wallet. I don't know if you knew that, but you can swap out your tokens in a variety of different places. And people can even build their own tools to swap their tokens. And it would just basically be on the front end of our protocol. So there's a lots of freedom. We've heard the term open source. You know, it's an open source protocol, fully decentralized. And that's one of the things that a lot of people like is they don't like that additional oversight. People that are in the crypto space, they like the freedom. They like the privacy. They like the fact that they can go peer to peer. You know, that was what was really big when Bitcoin launched, is that this is a peer-to-peer electronic money system, a payment network. And that's essentially what most of the crypto projects are. Now, there's a variety of different things that different projects are trying to do, but essentially we are peer-to-peer finance.
And you're going to hate this. And that was a great answer, by the way, but you didn't answer the question. I mean, indirectly. I wish that you would answer this directly. How would it feel if Centric failed?
Oh, feelings. We're talking about feelings now.
We're no longer in business.
That wouldn't feel very good. No, I think that would feel horrible if Centric failed. But I mean, I'm an investor. I was an investor before I came to work for Centric. Nobody likes to see their investments go south. No. However, like I said at the outset, I don't feel that there's a situation where Centric could fail unless everybody's left the network. One of the biggest slams that we get from our detractors, because every company has detractors, is the team's going to come in and they're gonna take all the money out of Centric, take the money and run, so to speak. Like, we're going to suck up all the liquidity and walk away from the project. And my response to that is always, number one, that's not possible because people hold other tokens outside the team, and the protocol is immutable, which means it's been put in place and it's been deployed and it can't be edited. So we can't do anything about that. I think we've talked about attack vectors before. Yeah. They're if somebody were to try to come into the network and change the price blocks, for instance, add new price blocks, we'd have like a year to figure out that, hey, something strange is going on.
Yeah, you stated that before, sure.
Shut them down. So I mean, there's so many mechanisms in place to make sure that the network remains safe and pristine. But as far as like the industry or our project going south, I don't foresee that. I mean, we've got, even though we're trading fairly low right now, we're still nowhere near our all-time low, and we have quite a bit of stability for this space. Cool. And we trend with the market. Like when the big guys start going south, we do too. So I mean, that's just kind of the nature of the space.
Well, yeah. How is it that you can? I'm sorry if I'm taking the questions out.
All of them.
Yeah. No, how is it? I'm such a curious guy. Like, why is it that someone? First of all, why is it that someone would want to destroy Centric? And then also, how is it that you can detach yourself from all the rest, the big boys, when frankly, it's the fan.
Sure, right. And I think there's a couple of items that we need to remember is that in the West, I hate to say it, but we're kind of egocentric in the West, specifically the United States.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
We think
Centric.
I think we think
Egocentric. Yeah.
in that we think that everything that happens in the world is what's happening in the US. And there are many, many countries that are very friendly toward the digital asset space or cryptocurrency. And, I know the list, but I mean, it's not hard to find on Google. There's a list of countries out there that are very friendly. Some don't even consider it money or an investment, so they don't tax it in some countries.
Wow.
And so for people who are kind of curious about, hey, I wonder if there's any place on this planet where I can move where cryptocurrency is not only accepted as legal tender, but I'm going to pay less in taxes. Those places exist. But I think what happens is, especially here in the West, the US specifically, is we sensationalize a lot of things.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, for me, I'm like, I look at our project and where we're going, and I think, okay, well, we've got a very clear roadmap. A lot of projects do as well. Some will come and go. Some will be here in 5 years. Some will not be. I mean, we've got a 10-year roadmap. I mean, we have so much we haven't even done yet. And I have to kind of get back to what CZ said last week, is just that the planet still doesn't really understand what this is. I mean, those of us that are on the inside, we know what it is. And certain governments are already starting to get in the game with central bank digital currencies. So at the end of the day,
I wonder why.
I feel pretty good about where Centric is in the space, and then where we're at in the development of the entire sector.
I love that answer. I appreciate you being so direct on that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Did I get enough feelings in there?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a break from asking questions here.
No, I just was having so many thoughts. You were talking about other countries not taxing it or being a lot more crypto friendly. My brain was just like, oh, like Shenzhen already being on like your entire currencies on your phone, or the gas station attendant doesn't exist, it's just a robot. And just there have been so many times where I do feel like the biggest thing that we need, and that's why I love the education series, is more education in the West, because I just feel like our country is like behind on a lot of stuff right now.
Right.
What's that that Robin Williams or Gandhi was saying, the Robin Williams joke? He's like, Gandhi was asked, what do you think about Western civilization? He was like, I think it would be a good idea.
I think it would be if we actually had civilization, if we were civilized.
Yeah. I mean, we're behind on so much right now because we're so distracted by things that don't matter. Anyway, I'm not going to rant about that right now. With how quickly Centric is pushing to get the word out there and actually get the education, what does this like migration and everything the team is doing on behind the scenes really mean for the people swapping and the people using it currently?
And you're talking about our move to the Binance Smart Chain?
Yeah, and just everything with protocol and just how we're going with it.
There are so many good things to share. It's hard to remember some of the things that are more challenging, but I'll start with them. We still have a few exchanges that have yet to fully swap, and it's very frustrating for the users, and it's frustrating for the team, because we think they're basically locking up our users' tokens in a sense. And so like for me, I obviously had to set up some additional exchanges just so we could continue our Centric Education series. As you know, we moved from Probit to MXC or MEXC because MEXC, they were really quick on the swap. Boom, they were ready to go. Probit's still in process, and we're talking to them every single day.
Wow.
Where are we at in the queue? And the response is that there are a lot of projects that are swapping right now, and so we're in line, getting ready to swap. So hopefully Probit will be fully online with their withdrawals and deposits, because that's really what it comes down to, is our users need to be able to withdraw and deposit on demand, because that's the spirit of our protocol. It's set up so users have autonomy that way. They can move in and out of the network whenever they need to. And so we got a couple of other, exchanges where we've got that issue. I think Pancake Swap and Rasta Finance were really big ads for Centric moving to the Binance Smart Chain. It was so big. And it's amazing because those two projects are super creative and inventive, and they have new things coming out all the time. Just I think it was 2 days ago, there's a new ability to stake Centric Rise with Rasta Finance. And if you stake your Rise with Rasta Finance, you actually yield Rasta tokens, which is pretty freaking cool. That's pretty cool.
Or just strictly just.
Well, like if we were thinking about this in like traditional investment sense, Mark, it would be like if you're getting your dividends.
Put it in layman term here, Joel.
Right. So if you're getting your dividends like in the dollar, your dividends by staking CNR with Rasta Finance, as I understand it, you'd be getting your dividends in Rasta token. So you'd be getting Rasta token. So you'd be getting both tokens. Your CNR would be in a safe place doing what it does via the protocol, because you can have your CNR anywhere and you're getting hourly growth. Everybody knows that, right? You don't have to hold it in the Centric wallet. You don't have to hold it in cold storage.
Not everybody knows that.
Not everybody knows that, Joel.
Okay.
So that's something.
Okay. Yeah, Mark. You can, wherever your CNR is, it's getting hourly growth. Isn't that cool? So even if you're staking it, even if you're staking it at Rasta Finance, you're staking it at Moolah.bet, which is another partner. It's an online casino. Your CNR is growing.
Yeah,
CNR is growing.
He talked about that. You talked about this with that British guy, the few.
Oh, Richard Strang.
Yeah, on July.
Oh, about Moolah.
I think so. Something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's our longest pre-existing partner. So cool. They're an online casino, and they've got live table games, live casino action. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And Centric Rise is the central token for that casino.
I have a friend who the knowledge of this will blow his mind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah. Right now, Moolah is I think to play. Right now, Moolah is still playing. Players are using Tron tokens. So you play with Tron tokens and you mine Centric Rise. When you get the Centric Rise, you can stake it at the casino, or you can take it out and put it in your Centric web wallet or somewhere else. But if you stake it, you receive daily dividends in Tron. So just like staking CNR at Rasta Finance, you get your daily dividends in Rasta token. Inside of Moolah.bet, you receive your daily divs in in Tron, right? So, but the cool thing about Moolah.bet is they're going to be offering CNS betting. So you're going to be able to bet in Centric Swap and get your divs in Centric Swap, which is kind of cool. So you'll be like double dipping in a sense. And there's a couple of other tokens that Moolah is going to be turning on, so that the players can play in the tokens that they prefer. So whatever token you play in at Moolah, that's what you're going to be receiving in daily dividends.
What a world.
But you're always mining CNR.
Yeah, especially at Rasta, the players can play and the tokens can toke.
Well, the
tokens can toke.
All right. All right. That was bad.
Well, the question I have about Rasta is, if you have CNR and then you're converting it to Rasta, are you losing any?
No, you're not converting your CNR. You're just staking it. You're setting your CNR in the platform. And then by doing that, you're receiving dividends in Rasta token. One of the other benefits of the Rasta Finance platform, and they're a decentralized exchange, they're a DEX, so you can swap tokens there. You can swap other tokens there. But one of the other things that Rasta Finance offers is, and this is what we originally, quote unquote, got into bed with them on. The marriage started over the yield farming. So CNS is involved in their yield farming, so you can farm CNS. So you can farm CNS, and what they just added, like I said, I think 2 days ago, something like that, 3 days ago, I can't remember. And I just saw it on the wire. Nobody told me. I just saw it out there, is that you can stake CNR and your dividends come to you in Rasta. So pretty cool.
Wow.
Well, I know that this is kind of like a little tangent there, but I think that, this is the sort of stuff that,
this is what the show is made of.
I know that you guys we've talked even behind the scenes of like, you guys need to do like some some like weekly show, have Shelby host and talk about this sort of stuff, not just the webinar, because this is the stuff that people need to hear about
Right.
not necessarily from the CEO, because
Correct.
going to be doing, he doesn't need to be talking about online betting. He needs to be talking to the partners of, hey man, let's scratch each other's, so.
I agree. Yeah, it's interesting because the Centric Education Series, the format doesn't really lend itself to that, but I know that our team wants to do more AMAs, ask me anythings.
Yeah.
So that would be a perfect format for that, where we could just do Q&A and talk about pretty much anything that's rolling out.
Live calls, man.
Yeah, exactly. Is it SteamYard? I think is a good platform for that.
I don't know.
I think there's a couple.
It's
We
kind
do
of like,
Livestorm. That's fine.
like what Grant Cardone does for his real estate stuff. You just take calls for all of the, literally just talk to your people every single 1 hour a day, 5 days a week. Boom. You just talk on and take calls about Centric.
That's huge.
And have a host.
Right. And why not?
Yeah, exactly. Especially when we're dealing in a world of like, literally somebody the other day called it funny money to my face when we asked them if they took crypto.
Yeah.
So
wasn't that the guy at Walmart?
Yeah.
Ha!
I mean,
that's right.
And Walmart's integrated with some crypto. So, but he was probably just the person that was helping you with your groceries or something.
That was me, but the truth hurts.
Yeah. They're necessary.
What's wrong with that?
They're necessary.
People, yeah. An
honest buck. That's
right.
But it's really just, I think what's so important about the Ask Me Anythings is people are going to be like, okay, now that I have some crypto knowledge and I want to start investing, or I want to start moving over and spending money with that, which one do I choose? There's too many right now. There's so
I agree.
I know one blew up in the news for getting caught for doing fishy stuff. And I was like, I have to read everything.
Polygon got hacked yesterday. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Some hacker got away with over 600 million, 611 million, something like that.
Hey man,
why didn't he cut me in? What is this?
You gotta praise those gray hats sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't like to see any project get hacked.
Well, of course, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, that just goes to show, the mock commercial that we wrote for you 4 or 5 months ago of, Centric, just try and break it.
Yeah. Well, especially because that's a huge market right now. Tons of people are trying to get into
safety and security.
Anti-hacking. Yeah, security.
Yeah.
And then you have to pay.
Right. And we spend so much time and energy and resources making sure the network is secure. We have outside audits done regularly. We actually did. I thought that we had to have audits to move to the Binance Smart Chain. We didn't. We did that independent of the BSC. So we actually did additional audits in preparation for our migration. Try to say that 10 times really fast.
Don't try. No. I'll tell you who you should talk to is we just dropped an interview with Rick Jordan. He's into cybersecurity. So I think that
sweet.
You guys, we can try and get you in touch. And I would definitely look into talking to him because he is not only a great guy with a great spirit, but he's very smart and he knows what he's doing and he likes helping people.
Yeah, and he's getting an IPO.
Yeah,
that's what we're about.
We're coming up too for Reach Out Tech. So yeah. Hi, Rick. Hope you're well.
Shameless plug for other people.
Yeah.
So obviously, like, we're all based in the US, and that means many different things for a crypto world. So where everything is going with the level of inflation that we're dealing with and different lockdowns and a Delta variant and all of this craziness, what do you think is
what is it called? I never heard of it. I don't know what that is. I never heard of it.
Yeah, if we just stop talking about it, maybe it'll go away.
Yeah, just like racism. I'm sorry, what? Oh, anyway, what was your question?
What's, from your perspective as the CEO of a currency, what's your perspective on what Americans need to be doing to protect their financial future right now? Especially because you came from taxes, so you know a lot about all of the money situation going on in the country.
What was your question?
What can people in America or even globally really prepare for what's coming? Yeah.
So number one is educate yourself, do your own research and get educated on money, on debt, on investments, on currency. become geopolitical in your understanding of what's going on. Understand that, like we said it earlier, there are some countries that are friendlier to crypto than the US at this time. But understand we also have some people in Washington, D.C. that are very, we'll say, pragmatic. They understand that there is innovation that's here and being developed, and we want to make sure that we don't miss the boat, that the US isn't behind like we've been behind with education and mathematics.
No.
Okay. So there are those voices in Washington, D.C., which gives me some peace of mind, some. But at the end of the day, those are the two items I would say for people: is educate yourself about finance, do your own research, make sure you're learning. We didn't get a good education in K-12 education here in the US, so you got to do it on your own.
Dude, I hate the idea of public school for my kids.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but educate yourself. And then the other side of it is become more geopolitical with your understanding of finance and money and all of those things, and protect yourself from inflation by doing specific planning. Like you said, Shelby, I do come from the traditional finance world. So there's a variety of things that we can do to just kind of make sure that we're not left behind, so to speak.
It's funny that you just said that. Like, what about spiritual finance? When's that coming into play?
No, I've just been hearing it everywhere. I've just been hearing so much about our money and so many theories on good things coming or bad things coming. And it's just, we're in such a flux that it's important that people know that. Do you have a particular place you go to for your information that's public, that people can go and they know that they're actually getting factual information, as opposed to the disinformation that's circulating everywhere right now?
Yeah, I would probably start with the not-for-profit organizations. And I'll tell you why, because not-for-profit or nonprofit educational organizations, they tend to have less to gain from giving you information.
Yeah.
Where imagine that. So like one that comes to mind, and understand that this is just Joel speaking. This is opinion. This is not Centric speaking. This is just my opinion, but I believe I met the founders and the key players of Life Happens, and I met them in New Orleans in 2015. Good people. They come from the traditional finance world, but they started lifehappens.org. And lifehappens.org is great because they give you free resources that are compliant. So they're compliant with the traditional finance industry, but they're also really accessible, which I like as an educator, is that it gets good information out to people that's palatable. So I would say that lifehappens.org is a great resource. Investopedia isn't bad.
Oh,
Yeah.
Investopedia is like the Wikipedia for finance. So it's a great place for you to equip yourself. Yahoo Finance gets lucky sometimes, but Wikipedia, I think, or excuse me, not Wikipedia, Investopedia is decent. And I'd also, go to bankrate.com. I don't know if I've shared this with you guys in the past, but bankrate.com is good for just kind of studying loans and credit cards and financials just across the board. There was a gentleman named Larry Burkett, and now I'm really dating myself. He passed away. But Larry Burkett used to have a series that he did on finance, just to help like Tom, Dick, and Sally Citizen prepare for their financial lives. And so if you can look, you can find anything on Larry Burkett, it'll be helpful.
Never heard of him.
Really? I've heard of him.
Oh, and Ben Stein. Don't forget Ben Stein. I think Ben's still alive. Look up Ben Stein. He's great.
You talking about Ben Stein from Leaving the
Bueller.
Yeah.
Bueller. Yeah, that Ben Stein. He's great.
Cool.
Does that help?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Those are just resources. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I have to get back to what I said about our leaders, is that there are enough leaders that know that we're going to probably get left behind if we don't kind of stay ahead of innovation.
Yeah.
I shared this with someone the other day. I feel like this is the new space race. It's like internet and Y2K. So a lot of people made money. Big tech people have made money. Mortgage industry people have made money, and the space race. I feel like the currency game is the new space race. And I mean, some countries are already getting in their mind that, hey, we got to have not just our our native currency, but we got to have a digital version of that. And we've got to have at least a couple of other private digital currencies like a Bitcoin, if you will, or a Centric. And have that be something that people can transact in legally here in our country, because crypto is legal. It's legal in the United States. It's legal in almost every country. I think it's less than 10 countries in the world where crypto is currently not legal. But there's just varying degrees of regulation and taxation and things of that nature and integration.
Are you saying that people can't agree? So here we got the space race. Now it's the hurry for the currency. Like, let's just decide on some.
Yeah, I guess we haven't reached consensus. We haven't reached consensus yet. But at the end of the day, we're working here at Centric to make sure that we're a big part of that, and we can provide stability and predictability for people now and in the future.
Cool.
And, that's what we're here to do. Solve volatility. How long will it take? I don't know, but protocol consensus is out there. And once CNS is trading at $1, we're going to be stepping into that new phase of Centric. I'm very excited about that.
Amazing. Speaking of Centric, I actually had another question. So what do you think is like the question you get the most often that's actually completely inaccurate about Centric? Like, is there a piece of information people are consistently coming to you where you have to be like, that's not true. That's not how Centric works.
Right. Well, sometimes people call it Bitcoin. Like everything is Bitcoin. And I have to correct people. I said, no, not everything is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is one. It's the largest. It's been the most successful. But no, I don't work for a Bitcoin company. Centric is not a broker. We don't broker a bunch of different cryptos and take your money and invest it for you. That's not what we do. We are a currency. We've got legal opinions stating that we're a currency, not an investment, not a security. So that's one thing that I correct people on is like, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to explain to you why Centric is amazing. That's it. And then it's up to you to decide if you're going to participate.
Yeah. Do you think it'll ever?
No, but I'm sorry.
What were you going to say? Sorry.
No. I think I cut you off.
Oh, I was just curious if you think that it'll ever get to an app on your phone that you can pay with, or ATMs, or how do you think that that's going to evolve there, just like Bitcoin is?
Is it going to make my life easier?
Right. And that's really what it comes down to, because we're very comfortable in transacting in dollars and using plastic cards, right? Yeah. We're very comfortable. We've been using dollars and plastic cards for 50 plus years, probably longer. And when we get to the point where your POS, your point of sale, your merchant services are as easy as what we have today in the crypto space, that's when things are going to start to transition. I think we're still a few years away. Obviously, Centric with our SendPay program, we're very focused on that piece of the puzzle, is being a payment system with a currency attached to it. And so whether you're using your phone like tap to pay, or you go to businesses that offer the payment terminals, Centric payment terminals, or what we just added within the last 2 weeks, My Crypto Checkout, which is very exciting. We're now integrated with the WordPress plugin, My Crypto Checkout. So you can work with businesses that have WordPress websites and that plugin for My Crypto Checkout. You can actually pay with Centric Swap now.
Wow.
Yeah, I think
so CNS can be used as a transactional currency now through My Crypto Checkout. But yeah, that's really where our focus is as a payment network, is the integration of Centric as the medium of exchange. And I think we're probably 2 to 3, 4, 5 years out. But for those of us that are kind of in now, like us, we know, hey, even if I just hold some of this, it's going to be worth a lot of money in just a few short years.
Yeah. Especially
once we reach consensus. Protocol consensus for Centric is pretty amazing, and it's not that far away.
That's awesome to hear, honestly, based on my own wallet.
I know your wallet, right? Your wallet, my wallet, right? But anyway, does that answer your question, Shelby? I don't know if I fully answered your question there. Okay.
Well, I think, just moving into it being more adopted and being able to actually pay for it is what people are looking for. So I think that
Yeah, I
totally
agree.
answer that question.
Hey, for all your
Um,
problem solvers out there, I think the real thing that a lot of people need to focus on right now that I'm hearing is the infrastructure. So if you got anybody out there who wants to design some infrastructure stuff to help, all these coders to help, that's what it's needed. I mean, that's what it sounds like. The hardest thing for any Bitcoin or Centric or anybody is the infrastructure. So if somebody out there, you solve a problem for governments, you become one of the richest men on the planet, or woman, or whatever.
Right. I agree. And Mark, I just want to kind of piggyback on what you just said. Centric's team is expanding, and we got a little over 24 people on our team so far. But if you're interested in being a part of the innovations here at Centric, please visit centric.com. We're always taking applications. So we have a great team of devs, our developers, right, for the lay people. And we have some amazing technology that's coming out. I mean, right now, our Centric web wallet is great. It's super secure. It's easy for new users. So if you're new to crypto or you're new to Centric, the Centric web wallet is super easy to onboard with.
I would agree with that.
So that's the first piece of technology, but we have some things we're working on right now that it's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. It's going to help make the user experience easier and easier and easier, because that's what we're focused on.
I love that.
So just because you had mentioned, like, if you're new to crypto and you need an easy wallet, let's say you are normally transacting in the euro, does that convert right there on the website to any currency, or is it really just USD and then you have to convert it from USD to any other currency?
It depends on the exchange. Centric is available on a number of exchanges. You can see the full list at centric.com/guide. Okay, so centric.com/guide, you can see the full list of current exchanges. Not every country has every exchange, but we are a global cryptocurrency, and so we have a footprint in almost every market, as far as I know. We're adding new exchanges soon, and it's interesting because that's one of the things people come to us with the most on an international scale is, can we have this exchange in our country? Can we have this exchange in our country? And at the moment, all of our exchanges, as well as the swaps or the DEXs, the decentralized exchanges, it's all token to token or crypto to crypto. So you're either using Bitcoin to get your Centric, or you're using Tether to get your Centric, or some combination thereof. On the swaps, there's more options. But we do have Changely that we've been working on. That's going to be providing a credit card on ramp. So everywhere that Changely is live on the planet, you can use whatever currency your credit card is based in. You can use that credit card to buy Centric. That's going to make things a lot easier for people.
Yeah. Is there?
But as far as can I talk about compatibility for just a second?
Yeah.
So the only thing that I would probably add to that conversation is, you can hold your Centric tokens in any wallet that's compatible. And we're a smart chain token right now. We're a smart chain smart contract. And so it's got to be a smart chain BNB compatible wallet. So like one of the wallets that comes to mind is the Trust Wallet. I like Trust Wallet a lot. I have a Trust Wallet. And you can enable new tokens or set up your wallet for new tokens. Just make sure that you're using the right compatibility. And so obviously would be Binance Smart Chain, or Smart Chain for short, right?
Well, I mean, I'd want to make sure that a lot of people out there, for anybody developing dumb contracts or dumb chain, I'm pretty sure there's not a market for it. So make sure that you pay attention here when Joel's talking about this smart contract.
Yeah, please apply at centric.com.
Yeah,
because we want you to. We want everybody.
Well, I know that we're coming up on an hour here, so sounds like you have something here.
No, it's just random questions for people who know nothing about Centric, really. I was just curious if there's a country that is currently adopting it more than any other country.
Great question.
That is a good question. Obviously, some of the top crypto using countries would be obviously India, Vietnam, Turkey, obviously the US. We got a lot of users here, but the per capita is very low for the US. So, so even though we've got like 27 million users in the United States, we have over 300 million people. So that's not a lot of integration or engagement. And with India, it's the same thing. India is actually a lower per capita, and they're 100 million users, but I think they're over 1 billion. I think they're like China, huge country.
Less than 10%.
Right, but there's a number of countries in Europe that are very crypto friendly. Again, my heart goes out to everybody in Turkey that's dealing with those fires in southern Turkey. We have a lot of friends there, and a lot of centric warriors in Turkey.
But like I said, I don't watch the news, man, because
just keep us posted. Keep us posted if you're in a country that either doesn't have access to Centric or you want another exchange, because we're listening. We're listening. We can't help everybody, but we're going to do our best to get access for everybody.
Yeah, you'll give the resources.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
does that answer the question though? I can't remember what the actual question was.
Well, I was just curious if there's like a more adopted country, and it sounds like India is leading the charge right now.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, who's making the news right now? El Salvador, right? Yeah. El Salvador is making the news because they are allowing their citizens to pay their taxes with Bitcoin, and they're doing a lot of work down there. They're getting a lot of news. I don't know how much work they're actually getting done, but there are a lot of countries that are looking to integrate digital assets, and so there's that. But yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Portugal. I love Portugal. It's gorgeous, and they're very crypto friendly. But there's a number of countries in Europe that are more crypto friendly than the US. And then obviously Singapore and Malta and a number of other countries, you can basically make all the money in the world with crypto and you don't have to pay any taxes. So that's pretty friendly as far as I'm concerned.
That's very friendly. Wow.
So yeah, I was just say, just do your research, learn about the world, learn about all the beautiful countries and people in the world, and then you'll find out where you're supposed to land based on that.
Well, speaking of landing, it's kind of like that dream, why are people doing it? And I want you to get personal here and tell me how is this helping Joel? How is this helping Joel achieve his dream? What is Joel's dream, that he's actually that visible goal or that inner goal that you're trying to strive for?
Right. Well, aside from Peggy and my foundation, which we're going to set up in the next few years, which will support our favorite causes, I want to take a walk across the continental United States and document it. And so the walk is really big for me. And then the retreat is the other thing, is another big life goal that I have. I want to have a piece of property that's probably got maybe 200 acres or so. And half of it's a working farm and consignment, and the other half is like a retreat facility. And it can be for religious groups or school groups, or even for corporate teams.
All that. So why that? I mean, why
it's just these are just ways for me to give back.
Okay. Because you want
That's really what it's about for me.
So you working so you can give back.
Yeah.
I love that. And Joel definitely does not want to fail on that.
No, I don't want to fail at that. But if I'm working toward it when I pass away, I'll feel like I had a full life.
I love that. Do you feel fulfilled?
I do. I'm very, very enriched, very grateful.
I love that. Teachers teach. Yeah, that's what more people need.
Teach people
that.
Maybe I'll write a book about that.
Well, actually, could you
fulfillment of life?
Well, I know that this might sound crazy, but as a CEO, maybe some people don't talk about this stuff. So could you give us a piece of advice that would help us in our daily lives to feel more fulfilled? What does Joel do that makes him fulfilled?
I would probably share my morning routine with everybody. This is what can help you set up your day for success and for appreciation across the board. Is don't sleep in. Get up at a decent hour.
Whoops.
Hydrate. Drink as much water as you can.
Yeah.
Take care of business if you need to. and then take a walk and meditate. Because on my walks is when I do my deepest thinking, and my best ideas come from my walks.
I love that.
So try to start your day with that. Cut out about an hour of your day. If you need to start an hour earlier to get all those things in, do what you have to do. And don't spend too much time on social media. I do, but try not to spend too much time there. And learn as much as you can. Always be learning something new. And if you can serve others, that's a big win.
Yes, that's right. I would agree with a lot of those, Joel. I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you.
Of course. Anything else? Back to solving volatility.
When am I coaching you next for on-camera coaching here? It looks like I know that you and I are already. I helped Joel he hired me for a session of on-camera work. So I mean, just some of the things that you've done in this interview and some of the webinar stuff, I've realized I've done my job a little bit.
Thank you, Mark.
Self-promotion there. So that feels
it's all good. It's all good. No, I'm looking forward to another. I'm looking forward to scheduling another visit.
Same here.
Yeah, that'll be good.
What about you? Anything else from you?
Well, I know the Centric team had really wanted us to do another interview just because the first one was beneficial for everybody to learn a lot about the company.
And it was our most viewed one too.
And yeah, it's still our most viewed video. You're very popular.
This one's going to top it.
I agree. It's a little deeper.
Yeah.
But I'd love to know if there's anything the Centric team is just dying to get out there that nobody's asked, and it's just burning you up inside how excited you are about it.
As no matter how opinionated it is.
Right. So we had one of our first influencer videos go out last week. You may have seen it. It's by David Pakman, the David Pakman Show.
Okay.
And it's on YouTube. It's live now. And we have in the pipeline a number of influencers all over the globe that are going to start plugging Centric. So that's pretty exciting.
That will be.
And yeah. And so, you and I can't do it all, Shelby, can we? We can't do it all.
Right.
So they're going to be out there plugging Centric. Yeah, and the protocol, and then the Centric business team are just making a lot of amazing inroads with companies to either have Centric kind of sit on their team like in an advisory capacity, with the expansion of blockchain. I know blockchain's a buzzword, right? And most companies and institutions are starting to integrate blockchain. And so what they do is a lot of times they'll bring on crypto projects to be in like an advisory capacity. So we've been in some really neat talks recently for that, as well as the eventual integration of SendPay. So
how
got some cool things.
That is a cool thing. How is it that you can set us up with talking to these celebrity influencers so that we can interview them and go deeper with their ideas about Centric and what they're doing, why they're chosen?
I will put you in contact with our senior social media manager on that.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And Shelby, I think you already know who that is. So I'll put the three of you together.
Yeah.
And he'll be able to help direct you. He'll be able to help direct you as to like how that can all kind of work together.
Yeah, because we'd love to do anything we can to just get this trending. Because that's the thing. If it becomes
Centric viral.
If it becomes Kardashian popular, it'll be good.
Keeping up with the protocol.
What do they say? To the moon. To the moon.
That's right. Hurry for the currency. Let's do this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm all about that. I think it's great, and it's wonderful for the investors when they make lots of money. That's what it's all about. I'm a big advocate for our investors, and we're committed to the long game. We're committed to the long game. The protocol is going to play itself out, and it's exciting. It's really cool.
We know it's exciting, Joel.
You do.
Hey, we appreciate your time.
Every hour.
Oh yeah, same here. Every hour, guaranteed, rate of return, right? Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for your time again. We'll try and set something up with you maybe in the next month or two. And I know that you obviously, we're friends and we talk, but yeah. So thanks again for your time, and we look forward to having you on again.
Yeah, it'd be great to.
Sounds good, you guys.
Update.
Thanks so much, Joel.
All
Great
right.
to see you.
Thanks.
Thank
Hank.
you.
See you too.